Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome to HP to XP. I am Chris, the Dungeon Master for our Adventures in Umbranthal campaign, and before we get into our story tonight, we have a few announcements. First, if you would love to represent your affection for all things HP to XP, you can jump over to our Teespring store and get yourself a logo tee or sweatshirt or your very own Owlbear Attack tee. You can visit teespring.com/stores/HP2XP. Second, if you have a doodle or drawing of one of our Umber buds and their misadventures that you'd like to share with us, post it on Instagram or Twitter and tag at HP2XP. Make sure you sign your art with a social media tag so people know who created it. And we have started showcasing art at our break, so we may ask to share yours. As a reminder, you can find us live on Twitch every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern for our campaign stream, and starting Monday, February 1st, we're going to be streaming on Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern, talking with our players, chatting, doing world building, exploring Dungeon Master tools, and more. Mark your calendars. If you miss us live, hop over to our YouTube channel to check our VODs out. And please use the links in chat and our description to connect with us on Discord and via social media. Visit our website, all that good stuff. But now, the adventure begins. Welcome to Umbranthal.
Journey to Umbranthal is produced for mature audiences. The topics and roleplay may be challenging, including instances of violence, power, and race. Our chat and comment sections are a place to respectfully engage with these topics and offer us your feedback.
Our heroes, having left the mayor's home, split up to pursue information in Mysa. Aziris and most of the others made their way to the Mew to ask the parents of the kidnapped children if their offspring had displayed any abilities or traits that might make them valuable assets for their kidnappers. Calliope, the mother, was unable to answer Aziris's question. However, Quarrel, the innkeeper and uncle to the children, offered rooms for the party and the possibility that he could gather a reward should they attempt a rescue. Veirona and Maple made their way to the Vagabond Inn, where they found a raucous building filled with energy. They settled into a quiet corner to decompress and await their companions. Joining up at the Vagabond, they attempted to form a plan of action, and it was quickly determined that they would need resources and aid to tackle the kidnappers. Splitting up to pursue leads, Anara and Veirona ventured to the Red Boar Inn to inquire about the archaeologist. Cloud and Aziris set off to the library to see if information could be found. Fen, needing some space, set out alone. And Maple and Rhys, or, as their codenames became, Butter and Ears, parlayed with a group of freelances at the tavern. They did not secure allies, but Maple won 5 gold and perhaps the heart of a orc woman named Carligen. Recognizing that any attempt to rescue the children would require money they had no access to, the party set out after a long rest to undertake a job for Volmar Elron, a local jeweler whose mine had been infested with kobolds. With the promise of 50 gold per pair of kobold ears obtained clearing the mine, they set to work. The party felled 3 kobolds, and Aziris succeeded in putting several more to sleep. While Aziris and Rhys played good cop, bad cop, they convinced the kobolds to leave the mine, an act that the party's minder, the foreman Mirador, did not approve of. Feeling that the small reward they would receive for having run the kobolds off was insufficient, the party set to trying to loot the mine. Veirona, using her arcane ability, shattered the lock on a heavily armored chest, which was found to be filled with rubies. As you look upon a chest filled with more wealth than any of you have ever seen before, what would you like to do?
Veirona is just going to, eyes wide, kind of back away from the chest.
Finn's looking at the chest and like more wealth than he could ever imagine, and he's just like, well, that's incredible, but that's gonna be missed.
Well, I think it's a question of how much can we reasonably steal and have it not be noticed. I don't think there's an exact count of these rubies. Obviously, the lock will have looked removed, but if we're looking to pay other people with this and we take some, then we would probably have to leave town after that and not come back.
What have we done?
Is this the first time you've stolen something, Veirona?
Veirona just takes the badge off her hat and just starts looking at it. Hands kind of shaking a little bit.
Maple gulps and looks at Cloud and goes, hey bud, I think this is a little bit too big to fit in your pouch.
Yes, I'm realizing that Fen has a very good point. That this would be hard to cover up. I don't really know how much an individual ruby is, but this is a lot of rubies.
Azirus has been watching everybody trying to gauge their reaction to the situation, him having no idea how to respond. But he clears his throat and says, well, I would like to remind everybody that I don't think hiring help exactly is going to work out.
At that, Veirona just turns and bolts out of the mine.
Well, Veirona obviously doesn't want a cut of these rubies, so that's perfectly fine with me. But Anara, how much would you say that one of these rubies is worth?
A good question. And she picks up a ruby and kind of eyeballs it. DM, how much would one of these be worth?
Make a history check.
History. That would be a big, huge 8.
It looks really expensive.
I think we could buy a whole army with these. So, what's my cut?
Azirus is going to follow Veirona out.
I think that Cloud will also take lead from that and go out and be like, I don't really personally mind if you take any, but I don't know if I want any.
I understand as well. Rhys, I mean, I know you're not from around these parts, but I've come through this area before. I need to be able to come back. I can't risk. And his voice just tumbles off, and he looks at the chest and the rubies somewhat longingly, but with a little, his brows furrowed, and then he follows Veirona.
Okay, as Cloud and Azirus, since you are in front, as you are exiting the mine, Mirador is going the other direction into the mine.
Like towards our group?
Correct.
So Mirador, did you want to lead us back?
What?
Some people are taking a minute.
What is going on? Your friend just left.
Yes. Well, some of them,
Why?
they're just picking their stuff up, you know.
Why did she flee?
Oh, Veirona, didn't she flee out of the cave?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Why did she flee? She ran away. What is occurring in here?
Just
Cloud will look at his ears.
That's a good question.
He looks at both of you for a moment and storms past.
Aziris is how far away are we from the others who stayed back?
30 feet, one round of movement.
Perfect. Aziris is going to use his telepathy to talk to Anara in her head and just say, "Hey, just a heads up. He's heading your way."
Message received. Thank you. And Anara quickly grabs 1 ruby for each player, or 1 for each character. So a total of 7 rubies.
Okay.
Quickly puts them in her pack and closes the lid and tries to adjust the lock so that it doesn't look quite as broken.
Mirador enters the room and looks around. What are you doing in here?
Just taking a short break.
Well, you see here, we just got done fighting for our lives, so I would assume that perhaps after you exercise, you take a break, right?
Make a deception check.
Oh, I will.
Can I assist with that since I was
19.
part of that conversation?
You're fine. He looks at you. Outside.
This armor is rather heavy.
Outside now.
Of course, right. Rhys will move ahead and leave the mine.
And Anara follows right after.
When we step outside, do we see Veirona anywhere?
Nope. Not at all.
Okay. Once, God, what's his name? Mirador? Is that it? Once he comes back, Aziris is going to ask him, excuse me, which direction did our friend go? I'm concerned about her.
She ran into the woods to the north. That is not important to me right now. What is your design here? Are you working with these kobolds? What is the situation?
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't understand why you're using that tone. We did clear the mind of the kobolds. You were just able to walk through the place. You were not able to.
You were sent to kill. You did not kill.
So you want us to put them back in there?
You sent them away, and now one of your companions has fucked off someplace, and I don't know where. Why on earth should I believe that you are not working together?
You do see these 3 dead kobolds that you said we didn't kill enough of. If you'd like to bring them back and you fight all of them yourself, you're more than welcome to.
I think that we were trying to find a non-violent solution. It wasn't, like maybe like the best well talked about, like we didn't tell you beforehand, but like.
All I'm going to say is that you do not want to cross them. So, at this point, I need this mine secured until we are able to bring gods back. Because you have let the people go that was supposed to be executed. So if you all leave, they are going to come back because they are vermin, and that's what vermin do. So, who is staying here to secure the mine, and who is going back with me to discuss this with Master Elrond?
I have to say, first of all, completely agree about the kobolds. They are vermin. And you should know that we did you a great service today in that we didn't really make a mess in there. So there is that to consider as well. How many do you need to go with you to speak with whatever his name is?
I would think at least 2 of you.
I'll just wait here then. I'm not as good at talking.
Anara will stay in the cave.
I will stay behind as well.
Well, Rhys, I guess that means it's you and me, but I'm not sure we're exactly the A diplomatic team, but well, we are elves.
You don't even know what I used to do.
Why don't you two go? And the rest of us will stay here.
All right. Well, Cloud, I think we have a decision, and y'all keep an eye out for Veirona.
Yes. That being said, I was gonna ask. Cloud was gonna ask, but not. Anara, can you do that like message thing? You know, like when you talked in my head, but you were really far away. Can you do that to like Veirona?
I can certainly try. It depends on how
Okay.
far away he is.
She is. Yeah.
They are. And Anar pulls out a piece of copper wire and points in a direction, not knowing where Veirona went, and says, "Veirona, where'd you go? We're missing you. Come back. We can talk about this."
You get no reply. Maple, are you going to stay at the cave, or are you going to go with Rhys and Fen?
Maple just kind of stood there. She definitely noticed everybody was leaving a little bit too late, so she probably emerges right at the tail end of the conversation, and hearing Cloud say that they will stay put, she will also just go to open her mouth, but think the better of it, so she will remain behind Cloud.
Okay.
Still holding her shiny, shiny axe.
Okay. Who has the rubies? Okay.
Anar does.
All right. So Fen and Rhys, Mirador just sort of points down the road in the direction that you had come, indicating that you should go first.
Fen, do you have the ears? Did you?
Yeah, I had them as I was running by, so we do have the 3 pair of ears.
All right.
Then.
So it was just about an hour's walk. It is just about an hour's walk back. On the way back, Mirador is keeping his distance from both of you. He is just sort of walking about 60 feet behind you and just muttering the entire time. You make your way back into town and to the jeweler's. As you get there, he looks at you and says, "Wait," and uses his own key to unlock the door, go inside, lock the door behind him. You hear some muffled, indistinguishable conversation back and forth, and the door opens. Mirador steps out, opens the door. They will see you now.
Well, sure thing, Grumpy Gus. I guess we'll head on in then.
Rhys, do you go in as well?
I do.
Okay. As you walk in, Mirador closes the door behind you and locks it. Standing before you is Volmar, who is standing, arms crossed, staring. Well, what exactly happened?
Well, we cleared the mine. My understanding was your primary concern was that your workers couldn't get in there and weren't able to keep your obviously profitable business running. Well, that mine is now cleared.
What do you mean, obviously profitable?
Oh, well, look at the way you're dressed. You obviously are an elf of means.
Very well dressed. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for noticing. Here is the problem. I now have a mine that kobolds will return to. So, I appreciate you leaving some people there to secure it. However, How many did you kill?
Finn holds up like a little piece of string with like the three pair of ears. I said, well, we killed 3. The rest of them we cleared out. I do
How
say.
many? How many left?
I think it was what, 4 or 5 that we sent on the way.
It was really only 1 or 2, Fen. But as far as dealing with these kobolds, has this been a common problem for you in the mine? Are they a tribe nearby?
He looks at you like he is. If he was capable of shooting you, he would. I don't rightly think that is any of your concern. So here is the problem. I hired you. I contracted you to kill kobolds. I specifically said kill. You chose not to do that. You have altered the deal, which means our contract is null and void. So, we now have a little challenge. I appreciate the 3 that you have killed. However, because there are more on the loose, I now have to go and hire guards to maintain my mine and ensure its security. I was offering 50 per death to ensure that this problem was solved once and for all. So, you and your friends who are still there will be escorted back by my guards. And Miedo, you will be searched. If there is any malfeasance, you will not be happy. And because I am a man of decency and respect, I will pay you 30 gold for the kobolds you did kill. And as long as there is no further trouble, we do not need to deal with one another ever again.
Well, seems to me if you're running a mine, as you said, and it's obvious, you are going to need protection and guards for that mine anyway. Frankly, with your tone, I don't appreciate that. And it sounds like it's your negligence protecting your own investment, which is what led to this. And Finn is just trying and failing tremendously. At
Make an
showing his
intimidation
disdain.
check.
All right.
Upset Fen. We never thought we'd see.
All right, intimidation check. That's a 6.
Okay. Well, here is the problem. I now have a mine that I am unsure about its security. So, whether I chose to hire guards before or not is none of your concern. But now, I know I need to, because you did not do the job you were sent to do. So, my question is this. Will you accept the deal that I have just offered, or not?
I believe it stands to reason that there's a better solution here, and
Oh, do tell.
so who's to say that someone, let's say kobolds, for instance, who's to say that kobolds haven't already made off with your valuables in the mine?
I will know.
You keep very precise records, then, you would say.
I don't believe my record keeping's any of your business.
How would you know, then, if And who's the law around here? We're not from here, so I'm very curious. Who is the law? Who can we bring this matter to if we're to
What matter would you like
ask
to
about this?
bring?
I think that if you're going to be doing business, putting out contracts, and let's call this a a deal on the up and up, maybe a casual deal, but I believe your reputation and your profitable business really depends on it, correct? That you're doing business the proper way. It's not necessarily anyone's fault that you have hired that some kobolds went and fucked off, because that's what happens when fighting occurs. And judging by your appearance, apparently you wouldn't be, I would assume you would not be very familiar with what happens in a fight. But I'm here to
I
tell
do
you,
not
since
like to see violence, no.
right. However, you hired professionals to do violence for you, and I'm
Well,
telling
I
you,
hired individuals. I hesitate to say professionals. So if you care to dispute this matter, that's fine.
I do.
We have no need for that. I will gladly give you the 150 gold, and this will be my problem to solve.
That sounds fine with me. What about you, Fen?
Well, let me just say that while you're hiring individuals who came out of the contract, and you said gold for 2 pair of ears, our understanding was the important thing was to clear the mine so that you could continue your operations. I think we helped you accomplish that. And yes, maybe you do have to hire some guards. Who knows? Maybe you can even hire some of my folk to help do that. Lord knows they often are working for way below their minimum wages around here anyway. And many of them are skilled. So I'm not trying, as upset as I am with your accusations against me personally, I feel that if we want to consider the contract, the 150 in gold considered, that we will maintain that guard till your guards can get there. And then that would be contract completed without any further unpleasantness.
And the interesting thing about that actually is that if you're looking to perhaps expand your business and attract more people to protect your mine, then what's better than hiring locals that you can trust? It's certainly not us, because we're not locals. However, we're leading you to that.
Make a persuasion check.
$14.
What I am understanding you to say is that you will secure this mine until some other individuals arrive. Is that what you are proposing?
I believe so.
I think so. I did want to ask you, like, how long do you think that'll take for you?
Oh, I don't think it will take long at all.
We can maintain the mine security and make sure that you are able and your employees to get there secure and then to continue to work for your profitable business endeavor.
He goes behind a counter, slides open a drawer. You can hear a kind of almost like a sliding door open. You can hear the tingle of coins. He closes it, hefts a pretty heavily weighted sack, and tosses it to you, Fen. Well, there is your gold. Mirador will escort you back, and my new business associates shall meet you there. So Bless your hearts, I am done with you now. And you hear the door unlock and open, and Mirador is standing there.
Oh, Mirador, my dear friend. I believe it's time to go.
And he gestures you that way. So, you are heading straight back?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
You keep an eye on Mirador as well
Okay.
as I can going
Sure.
through, as well as any surrounding terrain.
Sure. So you've now passed up and down this pathway a couple of times. It's a path kind of cut / stomped into the grasses going up into the front range. As you get deeper and deeper, sort of the rockfall becomes more and more pronounced as you're getting out of the lowlands and up into the hills, and then up into kind of the scrub where things have started to turn more mountainous. Mirador at this point is just walking along, just sort of shaking his head.
Mirador, I hate to get into your personal business, but you're a local. Well, I'm going to ask anyway because I'm very curious. I'm a very curious elf. And I was just wondering, how much does your boss pay you?
They pay me quite well.
Quite well. All right. What is quite well? Is that
none of your business?
Is that better than all the other townspeople? Do people look up to you, or do they look down to you? Are you sort of in the middle?
He just stares at you. He is done speaking to you.
All right.
Yeah, he's not going to reply anymore.
Okay.
Okay, so you make it back to the mine. When Rhys and Fen get back, where are all of the rest of you?
No one has anything in particular. I imagine that Cloud would potentially take this opportunity to show the others the little tablets from the library.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
Allow for Aziris and Anara to, like, I don't know, just group discussion, among other things.
Well, Aziris would be still concerned about Veirona, who left into the woods.
Oh, that's true. I don't know how to reach. I don't know how to reach her.
I would like to maybe look for her once this business is all done. Which,
yeah.
By the way, I'm so sorry. I did not realize it would cause such a fuss.
Yeah, perhaps we go and look for her as soon as they get back. I feel like if we divide up further, it will be bad.
I agree.
Yeah. What does the terrain look like outside the cave, within, like, say, maybe 500 yards or so?
Sure. You continue to get into progressively more and more mountainous territory. You are getting up into sort of that band of tree line that you get as you go from sort of the front range hills into the initial part of the mountain as it begins to sort of gain in elevation. So you start with sort of scattered shrubs getting into larger conifers, and that continuing further on. Way off in the distance, you see much larger trees kind of dominating the landscape.
Okay. As soon as Rhys and Fen and Mirador had left, and they were clearly gone, Anara would have gone back into the cave.
Okay.
Filled a pouch with some more of the rubies, including the 7 that she already had, and taken them out and gone about 500 yards away from the opening of the cave to a place where she thought she could actually hide them, like, say, dig a little hole and hide them in the ground.
Okay, easily done. Go ahead and actually, that's easily done. You don't need to do anything with that. I am going to assume that you are trying to make sure that is a hidden.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Very
yes,
much so.
You're not just leaving a pile of dirt next to it or anything like that.
No.
Okay, easily done. You have more than enough time to accomplish that and do that without any challenge. Does anybody else have anything that they want to do before they get back? Cloud, I know you've had a conversation about these tablets. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to discuss about them?
No, we don't need to like get into the details. I'm
Okay.
assuming that like we can just like.
So
spend our
just
time
for
talking about
everybody
different
to sort of
things.
have the background knowledge, it is 8 plates giving information about each of the elevated deities. The only one who does not have a plate is the Raven Queen. So there is no detailed plate for the Raven Queen, but the other 8 of 9 elevated deities, there is a nice, again, it is a small wooden tablet with sort of an illuminated manuscript look to it, a bit of information, a nice sort of mythological kind of drawing. It is a basic sort of primer.
Lovely. Xeris is maybe a little hesitant at first, considering what happened last time he tried reading into this, but still very interested, so.
Sure. Okay, easily done. So Fen and Rhys return. Where are you now all? Is everybody outside of the mine at this point? Is anybody inside of the mine?
I imagine we're
And
probably
ours
like
inside.
sitting.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I imagine we were probably sitting outside looking at the tablets. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. All right. And Anara's gone back in the mine.
Anara's far enough in that she can take her visor off and just enjoy the darkness.
Okay. Just deep enough in that you are still visible from the cave mouth, or further back than
Yes.
that? Okay.
Just visible in.
Okay. Just out of the sun.
Yes.
Okay. Easily done. So you arrive back. Mirador just finds a rock and goes and sits and stares at all of you.
Well, y'all, I'm not sure exactly what's about to happen. I do have the payment for the 3 sets of ears, and we worked out a deal where we would remain on guard here until some reinforcement guards get here to protect the mine. But his tone was not something my mama would have used with me unless she was very mad. And so I don't know what's going to happen. So I just be aware for all y'all.
And I assume you have not seen Veirona, because we have not either.
Oh no, she hadn't come back.
Not yet. She's still missing.
Need to go looking for her. Perhaps we just let this be and go then, and maybe try to find her.
Don't worry
I
about
think-
Veirona. She's probably on some spiritual journey about whether or not kobolds should be murdered or not. But
Well, and the only thing is if we go search for, from when somebody got lost in the woods when I was a youngin', it was always told to stay where people knew they could find you rather than to go just roam around. So I feel like if we do decide to go search for her, we need to at least make sure there's some way to communicate on.
I think we should wait here first and finish out our job, which, again, I apologize. I did not realize it would cause such trouble.
I'm realizing now how some people do not like certain other groups of people. It is very strong.
It's unfortunate. And it's not always all people from one group or another, but there are always those who seek to take advantage of the situation at times, or don't even take opportunities to understand.
I'm good waiting until the guards or whoever arrive.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Maple was passing the time because her shiny axe finally went out. Just trying to do something nice for everybody. So she was dragging the 3 dead bodies of the kobolds outside just to clean up the cave, just that last little bit, So she actually didn't realize that the 2 were back. So, dragging 2 kobolds by their feet, she'll come on out and she'll go, "Oh, hey, bud, look like you brought our folks back. Now we have enough to play Duck, Duck, Moose. We don't have anything else to do right now, Why does everybody look so sad?"
I will explain later.
Okay.
We're going
Verona's
to-
still not back, eh? I thought I was doing that for quite some time.
Yeah, we're going to maybe have to go look for her after this.
Okay, that sounds good. And Maple will just plop herself down, legs spread right apart with her axe,
Okay.
just hanging out.
What time of the day is it?
It is now getting into the early evening hours by the time you had gotten the job, gone up, dealt with the mine, made a couple of hour-long trips back and forth just walking. Yeah, you're getting into early evening, the sun's starting to go down. So you wait for just about an hour and a half, and you hear the sound of horses at a good trot. They're not galloping, but they are moving quicker than a walk up the path. And as you sit there, 5 horses come into view, and you would all recognize these individuals as the 4 of them were the party that you had seen at the Vagabond, including the orc woman, and the 5th person is a blue-skinned tiefling with these very large, circular, kind of rams-looking horns and a long tail, and they come riding up, dismounting. The dwarven woman looks at all of you. Putter, ears. Seemed like you found work.
That we did. Look, Maple, it's your friends.
Maple very quickly looks at Rhys, immediately flustered, and goes, hey, bud, just real quick, in her best inside voice, what do you think I should go for? Should I go for another arm wrestle or maybe like a moose knuckle? What do you think?
Use your best judgment there, Maple. I think your charm is just impossible to resist, I would say. So
she's just beside herself. She refuses to look up and make eye contact.
Okay. So the dwarven woman looks at you again. You can make this easy on yourselves. Turn out your pouches. You leave the gems. You leave the gold. And Elrond lets you live. If you don't, we're gonna kill you.
The gold?
All of it.
Like all of the gold that we own?
All of the gold in your pockets. You get to keep your weapons. You get to keep your armor.
Rhys is going to look to Moyle. What's he doing?
More deer?
More deer.
Okay. Moyle's a whole different job. He is just sitting there waiting. He has not gotten up off his rock. He is just going to watch this play out with a giant smile on his face.
Is he armed?
Not that you can tell.
Okay.
And there's 4 of them, you said?
5.
I guess Cloud just gives like a look to like Fen and Rhys that would say, is this something we fight or we leave? I don't know. I guess we can discuss out of character too.
How intimidating are they being right now?
Oh, they're ready to kill you.
Okay.
How far away are they?
60 feet.
Well, I have like 100 gold between Maple and I, so it would suck, but I could lose it. Or, I don't know.
Well, Xeris will start to empty his stuff. He'll step forward and start emptying his bag for them to see, hopefully giving the others time to decide what they'll do.
Okay.
Okay, Maple starts making herself as cute as possible. She adjusts her shirt and she puts her hair behind her ear and she fixes her hat. And Maple will kind of go off to the side of the cave and she finally looks up and makes eye contact with, what is it, Carlegion? Carlegion, sorry. Oh, hey, bud. I actually have a quick question for you. we have a little bit more catching up to do. What do you think? You mean you look mighty fine up on that horse, though. I really have to say, that really suits you. But as far as my friends and I go, I don't even have pockets, so I think I'd pretty safe if you wanted to come have a chat.
Carlton looks over at the tiefling, and he just sort of gives a nod. She gets down off the horse and walks up to you and sort of puts her face very close to yours and just says, "I'm sorry."
Oh,
This
I
is
mean, for
work.
what, bud? Wait, what'd you say?
This is work.
Oh, I mean, that's a real shame because I worked really hard on that hat I gave you, and these people have been treating me real nice. Oh, you don't remember? She looks.
No,
at
now
me.
I remember. That was
Okay.
Chris. That was not Carlton. That was Chris going,
Okay.
hat? Oh, right. Yeah, the whittling thing was a hat. Yes. No, the DM now remembers. Carlton
Okay.
absolutely remembered the entire time.
She's not displaying it as a trophy or anything, is she?
No, it's not.
Okay.
You do not see it.
Okay. I mean, if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to turn that into a necklace or something for you. It would look real nice around your neck with your muscles and your tusks.
Let's get past this. And then we
Oh,
can
get
talk.
past what, bud?
Rhys is going to
Carlton
look
looks
over.
up and sort of looks at the rest of you.
I'll undo my pack and start to lay everything out.
Okay.
Including Maple's things.
Yeah. Maple will give Cloud an understanding nod and just yell over at you. Bud, I really haven't ever had much of anything, so it's okay. We can go ahead and do this.
It is all right, Maple. We can make more money.
Rhys is going to look over at the half-orc woman and move his hands like this, and there's going to be a gray color that comes over his face as he casts fear on the half-orc near him.
Okay. Does it have a save?
It does. It's a wisdom save.
Okay. What's your spell DC?
They going to respond
13.
to a spell being cast?
Okay. She looks at you and sort of shudders. You would think that she is frightened.
Rhys is going to turn to the tiefling and say, "Well, it's about 2-1 now, so I suggest you leave."
Okay. Everybody roll initiative.
Yep. That's where we're gonna... Hurry up, Maple. Grab your axe. It's going to get messy before it gets better.
Yeah.
That is very weird. Oh man, here we go.
Chris,
Yes.
now that this is officially a combat, do any of them look like magic users? Attire.
You see that Carlton has a quarterstaff that she is holding.
Okay. Whew.
Did you guys roll? Anybody roll yet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting. Okay.
We
We
all
don't
rolled the same
see-
thing.
Oh, that's
Oh,
odd. I should see those. But all right.
Wow.
All right. So, 20 and over.
23.
Fen. All right. 20 to 15. Okay.
Just
10 to 14.
14.
14 for Xeris.
Rhys, 11.
Rhys.
Anara, 11.
Okay.
Literally everyone else.
Everyone else is 11.
Okay.
So I assume that it could be Anara first, followed by Maple and Cloud, and then finally Rhys because he has the lowest dex.
Yeah. Okay, so Anara, Cloud, Maple, Rhys. Correct? That's what we just said?
Yep.
Okay. Let me just update the combat tracker real quick. All right. This is about to get really interesting. So you can go ahead. I will go ahead and bring up the combat map for you. Go ahead and place yourselves in whatever positions you would want as I update some numbers here.
Osiris is good in the back. I think he's fine where he is.
Yep. Same with Anara.
Maple's over to the side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seeing combat starting, I move a few feet away from the group.
Fen, you were 23, correct?
That's correct.
That's a nice roll. Take combatant. Let's see where. That was an 18. Yeah, let me just finish throwing the other party in to make sure that our turn markers can consistently run. And feel free to enjoy the extra moment of thinking to come up with a plan here. I'm not going to be upset with you for having a discussion right now.
Damn it, Rhys.
All right, Fen, you are up. There are currently, Carlton is up close to where Maple is. All the rest of them are at the current distances that they are. Fen, it's your turn.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Finn is going to take out his bow, and with his bonus action, he's going to cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
And Finn's like seeing that there's the one that's near Maple, but looks at the target, the individual that's in front of the group.
Okay, so the dwarven woman.
So peering and seeing the dwarven woman, pulls out a bow, pulls his bow out, gets an arrow, whispers to it, speaking as he casts his spell, just saying, "Oh God, we need you now. We really, 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 really need you now," and is gonna unleash a bow on the target.
Okay.
The arrow.
Go ahead.
Okay. And it's at 18.
Okay, so that arrow, as it is coming in, it sort of, she sees it and sort of turns a little bit, and the arrow glances off of her armor into the woods.
Okay. Finn is going to use his Horde Breaker action.
Okay.
And then move and take another shot at the target that's immediately behind the dwarf.
Okay. How far are you going to move?
I'm not going to move yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's a horde breaking action. So
Got it.
I can automatically. Yep. Okay.
Got it.
So I'm going to take another shot.
Go
with
ahead.
the long
At
bow
the tiefling?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
one that's directly behind.
Yep.
That's a 14 to hit.
Okay. Hold on a second. I just lost him. Where'd he go?
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, say it again. A 14?
14.
Okay, that arrow goes ahead and sinks itself into the shoulder of his armor, and he sort of recoils and growls. How much damage?
That does a total of 14 damage.
Good hit. He definitely looks like he has winced. Anything else?
With that, Finn is going to move about 30, 35 feet back and away from that group.
Okay, so you're going to go ahead and move in retreat. All right.
That's correct.
Not a problem. I am not going to move your token to keep you on the map, but you are now. I will just move you to the back of the group for the purposes of visualization. So you will move to the back, and we will know that that means that you are behind. Okay. Fen, that ends your turn. Carlton is afraid, so she cannot advance, being as close to all of you as she is. She is just going to go ahead and stay right there. She can make a wisdom save at the end of her turn, right?
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns.
Okay, so she is just going to move nowhere because she could not close with any of you. She is going to repeat her saving throw. She's trying to beat a 13. Was that your spell DC?
Correct, yes, 13.
All right, her turn ends. So with this, Fen, you see one of the individuals standing there who looks very similar to you. He has sort of a wood elf skin tone, and he is going to go ahead and fire a crossbow bolt at you. The bow, as he goes to fire, jams, and the entire mechanism locks up and sort of shatters right in his hands, and he just throws it off to the side. He is going to use his movement to advance.
Whew.
That ends his turn. The blue tiefling now is going to go ahead and look at all of you, scanning the group. Rhys, you are going to be targeted by this bolt of arcane energy that comes out of his hand, pointed right at your head. Does a 15 hit?
No.
So seeing this, you manage to sort of scoot out of the way as this blast of eldritch energy goes off into the woods, scattering trees and lighting things on fire. The other male who is with the group, seeing all of this, sort of looks at the tiefling, shrugs his shoulders, and laughs. And he is going to use his full movement to dash and close within melee range of you, Rhys. That ends his turn. Aziris, what would you like to do?
Well, I believe seeing all of this happen, he is going to sigh, and he is going to try and cast Dissonant Whispers on the tiefling.
Okay.
So I will need a wisdom saving throw. DC is a whole whopping 12.
Okay, so you begin to cast, and your inky black energy starts to come out, and you literally just watch it sort of dissipate into nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happens.
Cool. He curses.
Okay.
Let me just double check my bonus section. Yep, cool. All right, that's his turn.
Okay, are you gonna move?
He'll take a step back.
Okay.
Couple steps back,
All right.
and that's his turn.
Okay, we'll move you one tier back. All right, Anara, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
All right. Anara is going to move to just the other side of Lemon.
Okay.
So that she's basically flanking with Rhys.
Okay,
And
easily done.
then she is, so one more over.
Okay.
So, yeah, right there. And then she's going to cast Fairy Fire on the dwarf and the tiefling.
Okay.
And that's they need to make a Dex 12 save.
Okay. So a 16 and a 20 respectively. So yes, they both managed to save from that. Anything else? Bonus action or?
That's it for me.
All right, very good. Moving on. With this, the dwarven woman, seeing all of this happening, is going to use her movement and close with as close as she can to Anara. Not quite getting there on this round. Cloud, you're up. What would you like to do?
Whew. Okay, so you said that Cauldron looked like the magic user, but then the tiefling cast magic, so the tiefling is probably also a magic user?
He did, in fact, use a spell. Yes.
Okay. Cloud will back up where Aziris is.
Okay.
And kind of like say loudly, if this gets bad, we might need to make a quick getaway, and will take their paws to their mouth and cast silence on the tiefling.
Okay.
Which is 120 feet. So that is
you're fine then.
Oh, it just happens. It doesn't have a save.
I don't know. I'm asking you. I just meant distance wise.
No, it does. I think it just happens.
Okay, very good.
Well, I'll click it. We'll
yeah.
go.
Just make sure.
Yeah.
For the duration.
For the duration, no sound can be created within or pass through a 20-foot radius. So, a 20-foot radius sphere around the tiefling.
Targeting on him. Okay.
Probably cast any spells.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
And that is my whole turn.
Okay, very good.
My fur's puffed up.
All right. One would imagine. Maple, you're up. What would you like to do?
It's going to be loaded. Maple will go over trying to separate herself and her future wife from the rest of the party.
Are you trying to drag her with you, or are you just making space?
Maple will slowly walk around Carlogen,
okay.
Like keeping eye contact, both hands slowly starting to grip her axe. And Maple will go into a very sad, teary-eye-filled rage by saying, okay, sticks and stones won't break my bones, but turns out really cute tusks really, really hurt me. And she'll look to Carlogen with these big, like, puppy dog eyes, assuming that Carlogen is taller than Maple, right?
Yes. Yeah, a little bit, not significant.
And she will waste the rest of her turn by saying, you know, bud, I thought you and I might have a chance to get to know each other better, but I'll do what I have to do if you know. And she has her hands on her axe, looking up, not with fear, but trying to sway Carlogen a little bit, not to murder her.
Okay.
And she will prepare a reaction to swing if Carlogen swings.
Okay. All right. Rhys, you're up. I don't know why it jumped you. But it's your turn.
Right. Okay. So Rhys is going to take a swing of his sword on Lemon directly in front of him.
Okay. Go for it. With advantage because Anara is flanking.
Yep.
Okay, that's a 20. It's a natural 20.
Okay, so your blow comes in and hammers right into his upper arm, doing how much damage?
As he swings, he's going to whisper something under his breath, and his amulet is going to glow as he divinely smites this individual.
Okay.
Let me click the button here. Okay, so
yeah, just give me a total.
5 for the damage from the longsword, and then 14 from the smite.
With the crit?
6 and 14. Sorry, 20 total.
Okay, very good. So you see, sort of as that blow sinks in and that energy just punches in, Lemon kind of goes, oh shit. He felt it for sure. That ends your turn.
Does.
Okay, Fen, you're up.
Kind of maintaining the hunter's mark on the one that I hurt, and I, even though the others have moved up, I still want to continue an attack on I believe it was a tiefling.
Yep.
So with that, I'm gonna attack with the bow again.
Go for it.
Oh, that is a 26 to hit.
That definitely hits. So your arrow sinks in on his other shoulder, and you would hear his mouth moves, but you hear no sound whatsoever.
And that does 5 points of damage.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I'm just gonna continue to. I'm still a decent ways away from the ones who have approached, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I think I'm just going to take maybe 10 feet step back just to maintain that distance.
Okay.
And just be like, kind of just give myself a yes, having hit again.
Sure.
And then blurting out, haven't seen two of them taking a hit. It doesn't have to end this way.
Okay. So I'm going to move you there. Again, we're starting to get to the edge of the map, so that's where you're going to sit. All right.
All good.
Very good. That ends your turn?
That ends my turn.
Okay. Carlton looks at you, Maple, because she cannot approach Rhys, and says, "Get them to stop, and this doesn't have to happen." And that will be her turn. She is going to make a wisdom saving throw. What's she trying to beat, a 13? You see her as she says this, you see her shake her head and turn around and look at you, Rhys, and just growl deeply. That ends her turn. So, with that, the wood elf, having lost the ability to use his bow, is going to advance on Anara, and he is going to go ahead and use... he is going to reach out, Anara, and put his hand on your shoulder. And you're going to feel this crackle of energy that just seems to kind of course over your body, but nothing more happens. And he just sort of mutters to himself. And that will end his turn.
It tickles.
All right. The tiefling, seeing all of this and being very unhappy, is going to, with a hand, whip out and fire another bolt, this time at Rhys, which slides just past you, Rhys. He just can't seem to make a good connection. And with that, he is going to use his movement to advance up. Now, Lemon, having taken damage from you, Rhys, seeing his partner behind him, is going to go ahead and pivot and use his longsword to make a slashing attack at Anara. Does a 15 hit?
Ooh, ouch. Yes, that hits.
Okay, so his... let me find the right die. I would hate to roll too much damage.
Yes, don't do that.
You take 9 points of damage. That sword just smashes right into your shoulder, and you can kind of feel it almost partly dislocate, and you take that damage. He is then going to hold his position and not move. Aziris, it is your turn.
How injured does everybody look? I know the one between our drow friends is hurt, and the tiefling got a little hurt. Have we hurt the other two yet?
Nobody has landed on the other two, on any of the others yet. The other three, both the wood elf and the human fighter, they've taken some damage, but they don't look. They're not falling down or anything like that. They look hurt.
Okay. Well, I think he is going to... He is going to try to cast... no. Sorry, I've been debating this entire time. I'm so indecisive. I am so sorry. He is going to hold a sleep spell. And he is going to...
What are you holding it for? What's the trigger?
For any of them to take more damage, specifically the ones who have been unharmed.
Okay, so if any of the three who have yet been who are as yet unharmed, if one of them is harmed, you will cast that spell.
Yes.
Okay.
And he is going to say to Anara, try and get over here. That's it.
Okay, easily done. Anara, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
Okay.
You are now between a wood elf and a human.
Yeah. And if I move, I get opportunity attacks from so many. I think Anara's going to pull out her rapier.
Okay.
And mutter a few words in Abyssal and cast Booming Blade.
Okay.
And using her rapier, she's going to take a swipe at Casper.
Okay. All right, go for it. Make your attack.
So there's the Booming Blade, and my rapier will be how much? Does a 12 hit?
So a 12 just connects. Your rapier just sinks in. How much damage?
That does a total, including sneak attack damage, since he's engaged with Rhys. Or no.
Are you going after Casper
Actually,
or are you going
no.
after Lemon?
Cancel that
Yep.
sneak attack, so it's just 5.
Okay. All right, 5 points of damage total?
Yep.
Okay. That ends your turn?
And then if he voluntarily moves or moves at all,
sure,
he takes 1d8 thunder damage.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Okay, so with that, it is now the dwarven woman's turn. Looking at the situation that's happening, she does not understand why Carlton has not yet attacked Maple, so she is going to run past to flank Maple, using Carlton for flanking, and she is going to go ahead and make 2 battle axe attacks at Maple, both with advantage. Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Okay, first attack hits. I will then assume that a 19 also hits. So with
Indeed,
that,
it does.
a battle axe comes down, comes back up, reverses, comes down into your back again. That does 17 points of damage.
And the sleep spell's released, correct?
I still haven't...
The sleep spell was if any of the ones who were not damaged were damaged. Not if
and wasn't that Casper?
Casper... Yes, you're right. Thank you for the catch, Fen. So, yes, the sleep spell would have been cast. Aziris, who did you want to target that at? Casper, since he was the one who just took damage?
I want to, since Anara did not get a chance to move, I want to cast it at such a way where it'll hopefully encompass both Casper and the tiefling whose name I don't remember. But
you
hopefully,
don't know it.
Okay, cool. Just to get those 2.
Okay, what's the radius on it?
20-foot radius.
Okay. So that is going to get, if you are targeting Casper, it will get Anara, it will get Lemon, it will get Rhys.
Right. Am I able to put the center of the spell just behind them so
Sure.
that the
Absolutely.
edge is able to just get them?
Not a problem. You can do that.
Cool.
So, give me the total HP on those.
Wahoo.
DM, wouldn't that have included the dwarf before she moved?
Yes.
So you could get all 3.
I don't think I could, but 16 entire HP.
Okay, so with 16 hit points, you see the tiefling sort of, his eyes roll back in his head as that energy hits him and he tumbles over asleep. All right. That's that. So, that ends the dwarven woman's turn. Cloud, it is your turn.
Oh boy. Is my bag still on the ground? I'm assuming since I left it there and I did not pick it up.
Yes.
God damn it. How far away would you say I am from my bag?
You did not move very far once they arrived, so you could very easily get it with 5 feet of movement, we'll say. You didn't, this all happened, you didn't advance to them, they were coming up to you.
All right. Does anyone else have items that are far from them? Or I think it was just me. Anyway, okay, I'll run up and I'm gonna grab my bag.
The whole pile of stuff that people had started unloading would all be sort of in a small area where you could gather it all potentially if you wanted to.
Would I need to like take an action to put stuff back into it? Because I don't know how far I got in the.
Yes, to repack a bag, you would have to use an action. You could pick it up with a free action, but to actually start.
I'll run to my bag and then I'll ask the individual between Rhys and Anara.
Yes.
Cloud will take their paws together and kind of like do a paw out motion.
Okay.
And cast command.
Okay.
On them, and that is a let's see, and hopefully we'll see if it works. It is. Where's the information on like?
I think it's a wisdom save.
Yeah.
What's your spell
wisdom
DC?
12. Yeah.
12.
Wisdom 12.
Okay, and what's your command?
I say, run away.
Okay.
I'm just hoping that it'll work and they'll take their whole turn to just run as far as they can in the opposite direction.
Okay, so he looks up at you, hears this, and just sort of laughs and stands right there, seemingly unaffected. Anything else that you need to do?
There are many things I need to do, but I do not have time, so I'll pass the turn.
Okay, very good. Maple, you are up. You have just taken a whole bunch of damage.
What was half of that?
Half
I'm raging.
Half. What did I tell you?
It was 17, right? 17 damage.
Is that
total.
8 or 9? Rounding up or
9?
Okay. I will delete one more then. Okay. Sorry, I assumed. I don't like doing that. Let me ask you this. Is it an action for Maple to further persuade her future wife to fight for them?
Yes.
Okay.
You would have to attempt to persuade her.
Yeah, then Maple will do that.
Okay.
Looking over her shoulder briefly, noticing that Cloud's bags might be in danger. Looking forward again, and just with those puppy dog eyes, you know what, bud? I might be really angry right now, but I'm not angry enough to tell you that I think you know what the right thing to do is here. You know, I'm really cute, and I think that you should take that into consideration, okay? And that'll end Maple's turn.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
This is going to be a very difficult DC, just so you know.
I know, but okay. Okay, that's a 10.
Yeah, no, she looks at you and like you can see the frustration and how like her face is just trembling, and you can see that this is not what she wants, but she does not give you any indication that she is able to go along with you at this time. Does that end your turn?
Okay, that does.
Rhys, you're up.
Rhys brings up his longsword and is going to thrust into the opponent in front of him, Lemon.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Make an attack roll with advantage. You are still flanking.
Ooh. So I'm going to use his divine. Shoot. What's it called? Guided strike.
Okay.
In order to add 10 to that roll, which will make it a 19.
All right. So with that, you go and lunge in, and Lemon starts to kind of turn, and as his energy is going away, he doesn't quite get away, and that sword goes ahead and connects. How much damage?
As Rhys connects, he's going to mutter a few words and pump another divine smite into this guy.
Okay. Total?
So it's going to be a total of 20.
Okay, with that, as that sword plunges in, as that energy sort of hits him from the divine smite, you see his eyes roll back in his head, and he just drops to the ground in a ball.
Rhys, after that, is going to step over him and step beside Anara and the elf.
Okay, on the left or right side of Anara?
Let's go with the right side.
Okay. So closer to the now sleeping tiefling. All right, does that end your turn?
It does not. He's going to touch himself, and when he does, he's going to glow with divine energy on his chest, and then he's going to cast Shield of Faith on himself.
Okay.
There's always enough time to touch yourself.
Typical teenager.
Often. Yeah, without a doubt. All right, Fen, you're up. What would you like to do?
So Finn is going to pull out an arrow and aim it at the dwarf that's fighting Maple.
Sure.
But would like to hold his action, if possible, and yell out, "There's two of you down. It doesn't have to end like this. He's going to cheat you all just like he cheated us."
Okay, and then you're going to hold your action in case of what?
If the dwarf attacks Maple, then I release the bow.
Okay.
The arrow.
All right, not a problem. So, you're just going to stay there then otherwise?
I'm going to stay where I am.
Perfect. Okay, moving on. So, Maple, Carlton is very conflicted and looks at you and says, "Just kneel." What do you do?
You're on mute.
Maple has never been a submissive before. She does not know what to do. She will not.
Okay. So with
if anything, she stands taller.
All right, Carlton is going to go ahead and make an unarmed strike. She is going to try and punch you right in the back of the skull to try and drop you. Does an 18 hit?
You know it does, Chris.
Okay, well, I'm not looking at it. So she does 2 points of damage halved, so you take 1 point of damage.
Nice.
And that will end her turn. So with that, the wood elf, seeing all of this going on and looking at all of this, is going to put his hand once again down on you, Anara, and you feel this energy course through you, and it just shivers you down to the bones. Every bit of your body feels cold, and you take 6 points of cold damage. And that will end his turn. He is going to stay right there. The tiefling is unconscious. Lemon is unconscious. Aziris, you are up. What would you like to do?
You're on mute. Muttering to myself, so it was fine. Seeing all of this happen, he is starting to back away a little bit more. I'll probably take another 5 feet back. I know we can't move any further
that's fine.
on the map. But,
sure, you move back.
And he is going to hold an Eldritch Blast on Casper. That's the
Okay,
name.
sure.
To see if anybody keeps attacking from their end, he will let it loose. But
okay, so
he
if there is
also-
another attack, you will trigger that.
yes, he is going to go with Fen and also attempt to vocally persuade them and just say, we tried to work with you. We don't have to do this. And
Okay.
that's it.
All right, that ends your turn. Anara, what would you like to do?
All right. Anara is going to circle around Casper. So that
Okay.
she's once again flanking with Rhys.
Okay, obviously staying within
Oh, yes.
melee. Okay,
Of course. And she's going to use her rapier
okay,
to do a little slicey.
okay, go for it.
Does a 21 hit?
A 21 certainly hits, so you go ahead and plunge that rapier in, doing how much damage?
A total of 8 points of damage.
Okay. Sounds good. He winces as that blade sinks in and looks back over his shoulder and just kind of growls under his breath. Does that end your turn?
And then, yes.
Okay, very good. With that, the dwarven woman is going to mutter towards Carlton, hit harder! And with that is going to go ahead and make another 2 swings with her battle axe at you, Maple, both of them with advantage. 17 hits
Yes.
and an 18 hits.
Yes.
And you take 9 points of damage. That's with the halve for your rage.
Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
Fen, go ahead and make.
Hold on. Seeing that Aziris will let loose his spell.
Yeah, Finn was doing the same thing.
Ah, yes. Hell yeah.
Okay, you had targeted Aziris. You had targeted Lemon. So
Yes, but it was if any of them made an
fine,
attack.
not a problem. So, Fen, go ahead and make your bow attack.
Okay, 25 to hit.
That will hit.
And it's so Finn, seeing attack, said, I told y'all this doesn't have to end this way. Leave her alone. And then releases an arrow. Does 8 points of damage.
Okay. As your arrow flies in and just sort of connects, Taurusalt looks up at you and just chuckles and kind of rolls her eyes at you. Aziris, go ahead and make your Eldritch Blast attack.
It's totally going to work. 15 to hit.
A 15. That energy this time, you seem to, the anger that is welled up inside of you, you hear a small chuckle. Good. And that energy comes arcing out and connects with Lemon, doing how much damage?
8 entire force damage.
And with that, Lemon falls back to the ground, and you see him. Hold on, I just lost him. Sorry, that was Casper. You see Casper drop to the ground, and you hear that chuckle one more time. Mine again. Make a wisdom saving throw.
All right. Love it. I love it. This is great. Everything is fine. 16.
Okay, you feel that hand that you felt before come in and just start to drag its fingers across your skull, but you manage to shake your head and it's gone, but it was close. You know it was almost there. All right.
This is fine.
Dorsalt's going to stay exactly where she is. Cloud, it is your turn.
Well, I no longer think that we're all going to totally die right now. Cloud is going to extend a paw out towards the dwarf, who's been, I think, the most attacking of the two of them, and cast Guiding Boot.
Okay,
on
go
her,
for it.
and be like, leave my friend Maple alone. She's really nice.
She is.
And that is a 23 to hit.
Okay, so that guiding bolt leaves your hand, and just you're so angry at the damage that your friend has taken that energy just pounds right into the chest of the dwarf, and she sort of rocks back a little bit as that energy dissipates into her body, taking how much damage?
12.
Okay. She staggers a little bit with that one. Are you going to do anything else?
Nope. I cannot do anything else for my turn, so I will just stand next to Aziris and look sad.
Okay, Maple, what would you like to do?
Maple looks up one last time before turning around towards this super ugly dwarf man. And goes, I hate to lose the view, bud, but I've got work to do. And like grunts a little bit as she gives the gun show as she turns around.
Carlton whimpers.
Attacking definitely recklessly because she already has advantage against her, so what's the difference? And she'll go ahead and just take that -5 to add 10 too, because why freaking not?
Sure.
That'd be technically a 35, and that's a crit too.
Okay. So that axe just buries in. Doing how much damage?
So that's gonna be double damage because of the crit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's 1. There's 2. So that's 16 plus 10, so 26, I think.
Okay, so with that, as that axe just comes plunging in and all of that energy just shocks, you see her face just go white and she drops to the ground. All right, does that end your turn?
That does. Maple is heaving and hawing right now, like over this body. She is ready to go now. This amped her up.
All right, Rhys, you are up. You have a sleeping tiefling at your feet, 2 seemingly dead people, and then your companion Maple is still within melee range of 1 active combatant.
Rhys is gonna walk over to the sleeping tiefling and execute him.
Okay, easily done.
God
ends his
damn
turn.
it!
How much? Give me a damage roll though.
Okay. Uh, 7.
Okay, you definitely think he's dead. Okay, that in your turn?
Yes.
Cool. All right, Fen, what would you like to do?
Again, so Finn is going to pull an arrow out, hold it back, and say, at the orc, and say, "This is over. This is over. Maple doesn't want you to die. You don't want to die. Drop it and live."
Make a persuasion roll.
Oh no!
How persuasive is Fen?
14.
She looks around at all of you and looks over at Mordir setting on the rock, and you see her staff sort of glows with this arcane energy, and bolts of divine energy, actually, bolts of divine energy lance out, striking Mortar right in the chest, and he drops dead. She turns around and looks at Maple and says, "They will find you. You must flee."
Are we out of combat?
Yes, you are now out of combat.
So I can respond?
Yes.
I think Maple will instantly drop her axe, and her hands fall to her sides. And she'll look up and say, Who will find me? Are we talking everybody here, or are we just talking me? Because I don't know if you could tell, but I'm
of you.
Cloud's like packing her bag immediately, and like all of us are leaving
in
right now.
danger.
Okay, who hired you? You said this was a job, right?
The same man who hired you.
Maple, if I may.
I think, Rhys, you've said enough. And I will
Go.
use my spell slot on you.
Go.
They're leaving now.
Cloud, I'm
Flee.
glad that you
Nope,
appreciate my
nope.
skills.
All right,
Not at all.
Maple
Anara starts
with
picking pockets.
Maple with
God.
tears in her eyes will quickly grab what little she has, if anything spilled out of the backpack that was on her back. and
Easily
stuff.
done. Anara, as you start to go to pick pockets, Carlton looks at you and goes, "No. You leave them. Go or die."
We're leaving now, Carlton.
We leave.
Okay. So,
But
as
I kind of purposely try to lead everybody towards where I hid the rubies,
okay,
so I can reclaim those.
not a problem. You go ahead, you grab the rubies. As you get just a little bit out of sight, Maple, you just hear this orc bellow of pain and frustration. And that's where we're going to take our break. So,
Oh my
go ahead,
God.
grab yourself a drink, hit the necessaries, and we will see you all in a few minutes. Cheers. All right, welcome back. I want to take a second and say thank you to our raid from Carodan. Thank you, Carodan, for the raid. We appreciate it. Appreciate everybody in chat recognizing that our players are focused on the game, so that's why we are not chatting during the game, but we have some awesome mods who are there for you to engage with. So, with that, you all have left the immediate area of the mine. Carlton is there, surrounded by her dead companions. Anara has retrieved a sack full of rubies, and what would you like to do?
I assume that we're all kind of running away, but maybe I'm assuming incorrectly.
No, I'm assuming we are all like running off into probably the forest to get some.
Fen, would you politely guide us to the nearest establishment that has nothing to do with that politia?
I will do my best. I got to admit, this kind of shit happens all the time here. I'm just fed up with it, and I'll do my best. I don't know all this area around here, but I can guide us and maybe keep us off the road as well if need be.
I think we should stay off the road. That guy has a lot of money. So I don't know. I think we can go back to Mesa anytime soon.
Yeah, and I don't think he has any concern about using it to do whatever just benefits him, regardless of whatever agreements were reached before. So, so Finn is basically going to, I guess, continue moving west.
Okay, so yes,
away from Mesa.
You have the options. from where you are right now, if you break contact, so to speak, and move up into the hills, you then have the option of heading north, which Fen, you would know, would take you up over the mountains, back down the other side into the Commonwealth, or you could head either east or west along the Haldir on the Commonwealth side of the mountains, whichever you would choose. Or, I'm sorry, on the Politia side of the mountains.
Well, y'all, do you want to just get out of the Politia altogether and try to head to the Commonwealth? I don't know how it would be treated there either, but
I mean, probably at least someplace not here, I guess.
Personally, I would suggest heading further west. I don't know about Rhys, but I definitely want to get further away from home. And that's back east.
Rhys, make a survival roll.
5.
You are sort of turned around. You are not used to being on this side of the mountains. Your experience has been more on the Commonwealth side. So with Anara saying this, you sort of do a quick double take and realize maybe?
Fen, my suggestion, and take it for what it's worth, but many people in the Commonwealth would actually look at me and my sister as though we were actively going to stab them at any point. And you and I both know that it takes a few factors first. There has to be something happening, or, I have to be motivated to do it. But they'll just assume right away that we're there to kill them. And that's generally not how we'd like to start our relationship. So it's my understanding that the Politias don't always communicate the best, and we might do ourselves a disservice if we go as far as the Commonwealth right away.
Well, all right, that's fine, and yeah, that's been my understanding with Politia as well, is that they all kind of run as almost like a city state or something. So then let's head west and not cross over into the Commonwealth, and I'll do my best to try to lead us through, and let's get us out of here, and hopefully don't run over these rich bastards anymore.
Okay, so you begin heading west up into the mountains and sort of further away from Misa, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you move for about 2 hours and it begins to get pretty dark. You're getting on for nighttime now. Are you going to continue to walk through the night, or are you going to make camp?
I think we should make camp, but I don't know what you all think.
I don't know about y'all, but I could definitely use a rest after that fight. I'm kind of a little bit banged up.
I'm all right with us making camp, but I think maybe we shouldn't have any fires or cook anything. Just try to keep a low profile so they don't see a light in the distance or anything. We can I think all y'all have some rations of some sort on you, dried fruits or nuts or jerky or something. Is that what? So I'd say let's just not make a fire, but we can rest.
Sounds good. And I can send Bubo up to keep watch for us.
So it's wise, Fen. I do have some bacon jerky, so I'll give you a bite or two. How does that sound?
Bacon sounds delicious to me. I tell you, I don't know. It's good eating.
Just one bite or two.
It's hard to stop sometimes.
Can't just eat one. Can't just eat one. All right. So you guys go ahead and settle in. You pitch camp in a... the area is relatively clear, but there are pockets of evergreen trees that sort of surround a little bit of a clearing. So they give you a bit of masking from anybody that would be coming up on top of you. I know, Cloud, you have a tent. Does anybody else have a tent that they are pitching, or is everybody else sleeping rough?
Finn will take some branches, look for if there's any saplings and stuff nearby, kind of cut off, just doing some woodscraft, cutting it off and just making an A-frame.
Okay. Easily done. What are your watches going to be?
First of all, Azirus is going to cast. Wait, nope. Wait. Nope. Out of spell slots. But I think after a short rest, I regain 2. So.
Okay.
After an hour, I will cast Alarm around us.
Easily done. By the time you have gotten to camp and people have started to sort of get things sorted out, you can all take a short rest before going into your long rest.
Thanks.
So you would be able to go ahead and cast Alarm Azirus. So first watch. Who's taking first watch?
I'd like to take watch with Maple. I don't care when.
All right.
I'll take second.
Okay.
Rhys will go with Azirus.
Ah, good.
Anara will take third watch.
Okay.
So she can get that long rest in.
Okay.
Anara, Finn will join Anara.
Okay. So Maple and Cloud, it is your watch.
Cloud will probably sit quietly next to Maple, sort of like twiddling their paws for a little while and looking at their feet before saying, "You're not hurt too bad, are you?"
Maple she's been looking back, rom-com after a love interest style the entire 2 hours every 10 minutes or so. So she has positioned herself along the side of the road, hasn't even bothered to pitch her hammock yet, and is staring down the dark road. Kind of side eyes Cloud a little bit as they sit twiddling their thumbs, and just nods. And she'll look up and open her eyes and go, "Yeah, bud, I'm actually really sorry. I'm not used to feeling like this, I'm usually pretty chipper, but I'm not really feeling like myself right now, and I'm a little bit worried. She wasn't acting like herself back there. When we met in the tavern, she was this, super nice and upbeat lady with, big muscles, and she wasn't even able to use them. I know it was against me, and I'm a little flattered, but still, she really did deserve that. I just hope she's okay."
Yeah. I know that you're probably hurt here, but are you also hurt on, like, the outside of yourself, too?
Maple's at half HP, so she's probably bleeding in several places.
She looks like she's taking some hits.
Yeah. Well, not too bad, but I've had worse. My shirt's still intact, so I'd say that's a pretty good day,
Well, I'm really sorry, and I'm sad for you, Maple.
It's okay.
I feel like I might need to have a talk with, like, Anara and Rhys at some point. It is difficult because I feel like we're putting ourselves in these very dangerous situations. And sometimes Rhys just doesn't shut up. And then my patience is growing very, very small. And I have a lot of patience. And I say under my breath because I hang out with you.
Maple's nodding.
So I guess what I wanted to make sure is that I'm sorry that you're hurt, and I hope that it gets better, and maybe we can do something to help you later. And also, I'm here for you. Like, you are like, I guess, my number 2 priority after myself.
Maple gets tears in her eyes, but she doesn't really have very many left. So she'll look up and nod, kind of like a half smile, and, "Oh yeah, bud, that's real nice of you to say. I think overall I'm a little bit, as much as of upset as I am about, the wonderful cartilage, and I think the whole thing with Veirona too, we weren't buds for very long, but I hope she's okay. She deserves good things."
I do too. I hope that she's all right. Maybe Fen knows, like, maybe where she would have gone. So maybe, like, we could, like, I don't know, write or send a message.
Perhaps. All we can really do for today is rest. I think we owe that to ourselves. So thanks for sitting down with me, though. It means a lot that you care.
Of course. I'm also very tired. Can do like one spell, so I'm so ready for sleep after this.
Oh, that's not very many magical blue balls there, Cloud. You better rest up, bud.
Yeah.
Okay, your watch passes without further event, and you hand it off to Aziris and Rhys.
Also, I was mistaken. I forgot that alarm is ritual, in fact.
Oh, not a problem. You were able to cast alarm regardless.
Wahoo! Cool.
Aziris, I'd like to commend you for your performance back there. I was quite impressed.
I'm sure you would.
You seem to have trouble accepting violence now that you've made this firm stand against it, and I know that it's difficult. However, unfortunately, the world just doesn't care. The world is still very violent, regardless of your inclination for peace and all of that.
He smiles. I understand that. I know that violence is necessary sometimes. I am just attempting to go down a different path. It's much harder than I thought.
Well, do you remember our conversation about... Remember I told you when that boy was afraid of you because you're an orc? You remember that? And I said, this is your life now? Well, this is still your life, where everyone hates you and tries to kill you for your things. That's how things are in this lawless wasteland of the Politia.
I believe you were the one that initiated combat today.
That's correct, because they said they were going to kill us.
If we didn't comply.
Right, so that is what we call a slippery slope. So say they disarmed all of us and then took all of our things, and then we have no way to live. Unfortunately, and perhaps I should explain the concept of money, but in this instance, if we did not have money, how are we going to eat? How are we going to provide for ourselves? It, more or less, if we did not find another job, if we went back to the same town and we couldn't find another job because that asshole told everyone in town that we did a poor job, we're not going to find another job after that in that area. These are all things that I think about because I am worried about dying.
Rhys, make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 20.
Okay, you feel a energy sink on and try and press you into the ground, trying to hold you still, but you shake it off, and with that you see emerge from the tree line 2 drow soldiers, seeing you and calling down in Undercommon.
How loud is this call? Is this a call that wakes everybody up?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Would it
Rhys.
have been long enough for Anara to get her full rest? Her full 4 hours?
No.
No?
Nope.
Are they?
Rhys is going to take a knee and call out, "We mean you no harm. There's no reason to fight us."
He looks at you. Who are you?
I'm Rhys. Who are you?
Rhys what?
Kholdrees.
Hearing your name, 4 more figures appear
Oh dear.
from the woods and encircle the area.
This is great.
By this point, I would imagine that all of you are up and stirring, they look around. There is a drow woman, Rhys, you would recognize as wearing the armor and accoutrement of a lieutenant. She comes walking towards you. Where is your sister?
Perhaps we can work out a deal.
There is no deal for you. You'll be lucky to live through the night. Where is your sister?
With their paws up in the air, Cloud will be like, "What is happening?"
Shut up.
Okay.
You have 3 seconds. 2.
She's right there.
The drow lieutenant looks around. Mistress Kholdrees, we've been looking for you.
And I've been avoiding you.
Thus far, with some success, but that ends tonight. So, you two can come with us home, and we will let these 4 live. If you choose to fight, you will all die. My only obligation is to bring back your heads.
Let them leave now, and I will come peacefully.
That's fine. I have no need for them. And you? Little one, what is your plan? Are you coming with as you should? Or is your father's tendency going to come out in you?
I suppose you make such a convincing argument that I am shocked by how excited I am to go with you. Actually.
Wonderful. Stand, both of you.
Anara stands up.
Rhys gets up.
But she doesn't move any closer.
That's fine. 2 of the drow soldiers come over and begin peeling weapons off you and tossing them off to the side. Do you resist?
Nope. No resistance.
Rhys?
We're all just watching this like...
Are you resisting?
I begrudgingly relinquish weapons.
Okay. Your weapons get tossed off into the woods. Your bags are taken from you. Your armor is ripped off and tossed aside. You are stripped down to just undergarments and nothing else. Rhys, you would be very familiar with how this process works. Your hands are bound behind your backs. They look at the 4 of you, and the lieutenant says, "You may go. We have no interest in you."
Could you perchance answer a couple of questions? They are...
Convince me.
Oh, I looking around is like, maybe actually the best person to try. So I don't know how high Maple's charisma is. Well, you see, we've traveled together, and they've been, they've helped us, and they've been, nice. So I feel like maybe we can know, like, what's happening a little bit. It would be nice to know. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add.
She looks at you, Anara. You may tell them anything you wish. It is not my business to share.
This is an unfortunate bit of business, but it is all a mistake. I'll see you soon. And that's all Anara says.
All right. I am afraid that the lady cares to share no more. It is not my place to. So.
All right. Can I insight check him just to like, I don't know, can I just, I guess I want to know, is he gonna like kill them?
Go ahead and make an insight check, sure.
Sorry, I shouldn't have asked for an insight check.
No, that's
I
fine.
didn't know what to ask. 18?
Okay, you have every sense that based upon the discussion that has happened, the way the lieutenant has had a conversation with Anara, that if she wanted to execute the two of them right here, that would have already happened. There is no reason to think that had she wanted to, there'd be anything stopping her.
Okay. Then I guess that's all I had to add.
All right. Well, you two, we have a conversation to have back home. Let's go. And
Lead on.
the party surrounds you. Rhys, you get a couple of pretty good punches in the back of the head randomly as they're gathering the group up, and you take 3 points of unarmed strike damage.
As they are being herded away, Aziris is going to again use his telepathy to speak into Anara's mind, and he will just say, "Do you want us to follow?"
Stay near, but stay hidden.
Understood.
Okay. So the Drow party with your two new compatriots in tow marches off to the west in the darkness. You find yourselves having come awake for the most part, all of you, except for Aziris, to this commotion and just complete uncertainty as to what is happening, and see your friends stripped down to their undergarments, bound, and marched into the night. What would you like to do?
Take the best of my ability to notate like their looks and like what they were wearing as best I could in the dark with my dark vision.
Sure.
And then after they're out of earshot, be like, "What is happening? I'm so confused. What do we do?"
What is the terrain?
This is mountainous. You are now, with your movement up away from the mine itself, you got further up into the mountains. So you are sort of on the side of the mountain. You're not into kind of like the pure vertical, but you're getting into that part of the front range where things are starting to get more peaky, much more craggly and craggy.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
it is difficult terrain in many places at this point.
It's not my favorite terrain either. So,
No.
Well, I don't rightly know. I mean, the way they were talking when we were making a decision where to go, it seems they're running from something. It seems that something caught up with them.
It seems very familiar. I don't know about you, but I would like to go after them.
Oh, for sure. This seems real rude. Like they
Yeah.
just like stripped them naked.
Maple instantly pops out of her funk, and goes, you know what, guys? For once today, I am actually a little bit sick of being told that I'm gonna die twice. I don't think that's very fair. I would like to be in charge of my own life for once. So, Aziris, lead the way. And Maple will gather all of her stuff. She's very determined.
He will also gather his things and then go over to Maple and put a hand on her shoulder and just be like, I think we should still be safe with them.
Okay, but I mean, you know, you were the one who met them on the road. You guys were traveling together much like Claude and I were initially, you know. So you probably know best where they're headed, right?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah. So Maple, I know that you're really excited for all this, but counter idea. I can cast one spell. And like I feel like this is going to be like maybe we need to like move to a different, safer place, camp out, and like make a strategy and a plan, and then like stalk them, like like cats in the grass.
Oh, but I'm sure you're a pro at that, huh? Yeah. Okay. You know, that sounds really good. I think it's a little bit fishy that they found them. So how long were they tracking them for?
I don't know anything about this.
But
Aziris,
Okay.
you know? I mean, we met them with you.
It seemed like they had just left when I first met them, which was, PETA, please, a day or two before we all met, so I can't say for sure.
It's been just about 5 total days
Cool.
that you've been together.
Well, Cloud, do y'all want to move to another location? Would you like me to try to hide and track them as best I can and then meet back up with y'all? But then I wouldn't know where you are.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I want to figure out. I mean, like, we're going to have to jump them. There was like, what, 6 of them at least?
I don't know if that's necessarily a good idea. I would like to at least follow and see what the situation is.
Okay. Do you think they'll be expecting us to follow? I guess we're losing our window to follow.
We were all very compliant, so I would assume probably not. But it's best to be safe.
I mean, I would argue that we could let them know that we're nice. You know, we accepted Rhys and Anara into our group pretty quickly, so they know there's nothing to fear with us, right?
Well,
I mean, if we start following them, Maple, and they'd see it, then...
I don't know their opinion. I mean, they apparently wanted to see Rhys in his tidy-whities, and that's not something I think any of us are in a hurry to see again.
I can't unsee it.
It's going to be hard. There's going to be some nightmares, but maybe it's, they don't seem interested in us and we didn't do anything. I could maybe try to follow to at least find out. We know that they have some skills, but I don't know how we even ambush them. They definitely outnumber us and they caught us completely unaware.
Yes, I think attacking would be a bad idea, but like I said, I would like to follow.
If we follow them, at least we'll know where they end up.
All right, let's follow at a distance, but I think that maybe...
Quietly, please, Maple.
You go very far ahead of us, and then maybe me, and then I don't know how quiet Aziris is. I'm pretty quiet.
I'll try to take the lead, and if something does happen and they see us, just tell them that they scared us, and we were feeling skittish, and we're not going to camp the same place. We didn't even know they were going that way because we don't know where they're going, and just play it off that way if they do see us. But in the meantime, I can take the lead, and we're probably going to need to move stealthily.
Yes.
Okay, bud. I better take
something.
I better take the caboose too, because I'm a little bit clunky.
Maple, you also can't see.
Right.
You do not have dark vision.
Maple looks very sadly, remembering she can't see at her not glowing great axe, and just will whisper to herself, now would be a really nice time for Veirona to be here.
I know.
Boy, we sure miss
This is going to be tough. Maybe you stay with Aziris, and Fen and I like Fen is at first, and then I am second, and then you two are in the back.
Okay, Aziris, are you willing to hold my hand through the woods, bud? I think a flame would give us away.
Of course. He oh god, I'm sorry, Kat. I didn't realize you were right there.
Aziris can't cast Find Familiar? Oh, wait, that's just Mirage. Never mind.
He is going to turn to Cloud and say, try and stay within about 30 feet of us if you can.
Okay.
That way I can still communicate with you quietly.
Okay, we'll try and stay like 30-ish feet apart from each other. Fen, go ahead, do your thing.
I'll go ahead and I'll try to move stealthily. And if we get separated, y'all don't worry. I'll find y'all.
Also, just so that it is said and not assumed, we do retrieve the weapons that they tossed off into the forest.
We do.
Easily done. You can gather all of their things. Go ahead, Anara, you had something?
While all of this is going on, Anara communicates to Bubo telepathically, tells her to go back and get the party's attention and kind of use Bubo as a guide to where we're going.
Easily done. So, as you are having this conversation, a sort of purple-tinged great horned owl comes flying in and drops down right in the middle of all of you having this conversation and just sort of goes and gives a big flap and up and starts to circle and heads west.
Well, that's the direction we were heading anyway. So, unless I think that was Bupo, so
yeah, that's great, Fen.
Well, that makes it a bit easier. Now it's just a matter of being quiet and just observing. So I'll take the lead, move a little bit ahead of y'all, and try to move as quietly as I can. And that's what I'll do.
Okay.
Cool.
Aziris
turns. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. You go.
Okay. I was just going to say, Aziris is going to hesitantly turn to Maple and hold his hand out.
Maple feels around in the darkness and finds Aziris' hand. Question for you, Chris. Did you determine that Maple can use speak with animals on Bubo?
You would not be able to because Bubo is a fae.
Okay.
Fae familiar, not an actual animal. So.
All right.
Does Bupo speak Fae?
Does Bubo speak Fae? Sure.
Like Sylvan or?
Nope.
Okay.
Not Sylvan.
Nice try, bud. Nice try.
Good attempt. I appreciate you trying.
Trying to get in there.
Yeah. Nope. You just got to interpret hoots.
We have to do more about fake owl communication. Maybe it's some literacy that we can run with Maple, but heading out.
O is for owl. Yes.
Maple has accumulated, by the way, everything they gathered up of Rhys and Anara's and added it to her stash.
Sure, easily done. So gathering all of these things, seeing the owl sort of flying and circling, you begin making your way through this forested piece of the mountain. Then periodically you will hear the snap of a twig or a grunt as somebody you would assume runs into something or catches themselves on something. At one point you hear a very muffled muttering and cursing that strikes you as being sort of Rhys's tone of voice, but in a language you don't speak. You continue to move for how long? Will you just continue to follow them indefinitely? Are you going to rest at all?
Is there a point where we get levels of exhaustion?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
Xeris intends to keep following.
Okay. Just
He's
so
already
far,
upset enough.
everybody would have had a short rest, but nobody completed a long rest. So that's all I'm concerned about. So,
Finn is just everything that's gone on the past 2 days is just like, oh, I'm tired of this.
okay. So you continue to make your way through the woods. Anara and Rhys, you have marched for about an hour and a half. Rhys, at this point, you are very clear on the fact that you are being marched back to Isterlin. You sort of are very clear on this point. The group halts for a period of time. The lieutenant calls for a halt. The 4 guards push you to the ground. 3 of them set security. 1 of them stays with you. The lieutenant and the other figure have a bit of a conversation out of earshot from you. Anara, the 6th figure, comes over to speak to you, and it is another drow woman who is wearing cleric's vestments over her armor. And she comes and sort of takes a knee and looks right in your eye. Now is the time for you to tell the truth about what happened there.
I had been studying with Nikado. I left, and shortly after I left, the entire building exploded. I was actually knocked down, and turning back, I did see another figure running away. I have no clue who they were.
Can you describe them?
Unfortunately, they were wearing a cloak. I could not get a good look.
You know your mentor is dead.
I was afraid of that.
It does not look good for either of you that you fled. The only reason we are talking now is because of the honor that your mother has done for us.
How are my parents?
Angry?
Understand.
Thus far, your likely guilt has not done more than impugn their parenting.
Thank you.
We shall see. We shall see what mother decides. Now, your mother taught me much, and I have a very difficult time believing what has been said, but the evidence is against you. So, be on your best behavior.
I will.
She looks at you, Rhys. She wants to kill you. So, you keep your mouth shut. You've said more than enough already. Nod if you understand me. Rhys nods. All right. So, during this period of time, Fen, you have approached close enough that you've seen that they have sort of made this stop, that there has been a sort of a parley in the woods. Do you attempt to advance on them?
Finn is not trying to advance on the one-on-one or
Okay.
one on 6 or 7. Finn just tries to blend into the background.
Okay.
And then just kind of get an idea, Frank, of the perimeter.
Sure. So where they are at right now is just it's a spot in the woods. There's nothing that would distinguish this spot from any other spot next to a bunch of trees. The where Rhys and Anara have been sort of pushed down to the ground, standing with them, just behind them, but where they could very easily be controlled or attacked if need be, is one of the drow soldiers in a very simple leather armor, longsword at his side, undrawn, just standing there, arms crossed, sort of set in a perimeter around are 3 more drow soldiers, each of them wearing a very similar armor to the one who is guarding Rhys and Anara. 2 of them with long swords, one of them with a hand crossbow. The lieutenant that you had seen, the person who had been doing the majority of the talking back at the campground, is just sort of standing there, arms crossed, letting this other individual have the conversation. She has a crossbow in hand. You can see that it is loaded and cocked. She also has a scimitar across her back. The individual who has sort of taken a knee in front of Rhys and Anara is wearing a flowing cloak with a hood that's pulled back and has a staff that has this very faint kind of crackling purple energy that sort of just flickers up and around and back down. You've never seen a staff do this before.
Finn is gonna keep some distance and then work his way back a little bit towards where the rest of the group is.
Okay.
And then just quietly as he can, just kind of, they set up camp, but they're pretty well armed, and I worry about what they can do. One of them looks like some kind of wizard or something, got some kind of staff, and others all got like crossbows and like some kind of sword or something. I don't think an assault would make anything. I don't know exactly how I can do this. The only thing I was thinking is if I get on the other side, maybe I can try to imitate some animal sounds and maybe get some of them to chase after, but I have no idea.
One of my thoughts is, you know how like Anara the sun hurts her eyes and stuff. So what do you think will happen like during the day? Do you think that they might sleep or like take cover somewhere? I'm wondering if like, I don't know, if they're going to stay here very long.
I recall that they only needed, like most elves, about 4 hours, but they might have to travel in a day if they're taking a rest now. So yeah, maybe if we can kind of do the same and get a little rest ourselves. We don't have to do everything at one time. We can kind of see if we can continue. Maybe take a turn on watch for the rest of the night, try to get some rest, and then, like you said, the daytime they might not be able to see as well. That's smart thinking, Cloud.
Oh, thanks you. I remembered. But actually, I hate to be a bother, and I know that I would prefer to sleep for like 13 hours or like 14, but I actually do need 8, so I don't know how that will affect any of our plans. Or else I may be completely useless.
I tell you what, why don't we see if we can try to get that? I only need about half that, and I was almost there for these others showing up, but let's do that. And if need be, maybe I can go out ahead just so we don't lose track and then come back. That's always a possibility, just so we don't lose them.
Nothing else. We also have Bubo here to guide us in case we do lose them.
That's true. That's a good point. I feel like I should start now so that we get like the most hours.
Well,
That's the plan.
that works for me, and then Maple can maybe see, which probably would be a good thing.
Is the group close enough? Does Maple have any light at all to feel
No.
comfortable? Okay.
Yours is still holding your hand, though. It's
not
okay.
not unless you are lighting a torch or something like that. There's the moon is not enough light for you to see by.
Okay. I think Maple will shyly look around. And say, well, you know what? I don't really have any magic, that Cloud needs to make the blue balls and to make me feel better when I'm, not feeling so hot. So I would offer to, stay up because I'm not feeling that bad, and she kind of puts her sleeve down over like a cut on her arm, to cover it up. And she looks really guilty. But, I can't really see much. Otherwise, I would just, take the loss on one. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be much help here.
I tell you, Maple, maybe the best help you can be is just help being there for Cloud if they need you.
Okay, Maple instantly perks up.
All right, I think this is our plan, so I'm going to start now so that we don't have to waste any more time.
Yeah, screw the hammock, bud. Maple just passes out on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I will just curl up very closely next to Maple.
Okay. So Cloud and Maple are going to go ahead and begin their rest. Aziris and Fen, how are you going to handle this?
I can continue a watch if you want to take turns.
DM,
yes.
What do we with this watch? How would I just saying that works since the other one was interrupted? Knowing I need 4 hours of meditation for mine, and I was almost there, but not quite. How would that work out?
You would need 1 more hour. We'll just kind of say with 3 watches, kind of dividing it reasonably evenly. If you get 1 more hour of meditation, you will have completed your full rest. Because it can be interrupted. It doesn't have to be 4 hours consecutive.
I tell you what, Aziris, if you can take the first hour, I think that'll give me enough to just, I'll be feeling pretty chipper. Maybe not as chipper as Maple, but pretty chipper nonetheless. And so if you can give me just an hour to kind of gather myself, I'm happy to let you get some rest afterwards.
Take as long as you need.
Okay. So, Fen, Cloud, and Maple are going to sleep. Aziris, as you sit on watch, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Sure thing, asshole. I say with the most love in my heart.
I'm okay with that. I accept
17.
it. I accept it lovingly. So you feel that crackle and the hand slide up inside your skull and just touch your brain. And you suddenly can see inside Acre. You see the altar. You see the faithful gathered around. And they take a knee. And you see the older boy of the halfling family pulled up to the altar. He's placed down on the altar. His arms are stretched, his legs are stretched. You can see with this vision that as is always done, he's been gagged. They bind him to the altar and pull a knife. And the head priest, who you know oh so well, comes forward and mutters over the boy, takes his knife and digs the left eye out of the boy's skull. He tenses and shakes. You can hear the cry coming from through the gag. With the eye on the knife, he holds it aloft. For the Great One. He pulls the eye off, flips the dagger over, and plunges it into the boy's chest. There's one spasm of energy, and you can see it all just disappear. And you hear that voice inside your skull once more. For you. And with that, the nails drag across your brain again and out the back of your head. And you no longer see anything but the darkness and the trees around you.
Well, other than the initial, oh God, this is happening, this doesn't faze him. He's seen it a million times.
Right.
PETA, my God, please make up your mind. Stop flashing the audience. He just shakes his head, heaves a sigh, and just continues his watch.
Okay. Rhys and Anara, after maybe about 10 minutes, you are hoisted back to your feet and continued to be marched in the darkness in the direction of home. And that is where we are going to end for this evening. So, thank you all for joining us tonight. We will be back next Wednesday to pick up and see what our friends have found themselves involved in.
Things fine.
So, thank you all for joining us this evening. Next Monday, we are going to go ahead and begin doing Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern live streams on Twitch. Getting the cast together. I have a sneaky suspicion people might want to talk about this one a little bit. So, we will talk about sort of where we're at so far in the campaign, chat about our game in general, and be there to engage with all of you. So, thank you all for joining us this evening. And everyone give our good friend Drew/Veirona a wave. Drew is pulling a Yasha and decided that he needed a real job that was going to pay his bills. So they want him to work on Wednesday nights. So we are eagerly awaiting when Veirona will be able to return to the table and find out what all she gets into and why she has fled.
So much
Only
stuff.
time will tell. So, thank you all for joining us this evening. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
You all.
Bye.
Oh my.